محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على قتلتهم وأعدائهم أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ali al-Habib, coming live to you from the minor land of Fadak. Welcome to the Ali al-Habib show. I welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, on this show, and inshallah I am happy to open the call lines from the beginning of the live show and undertake or receive your questions, your feedback, your messages that you'd like to convey. Ladies and gentlemen, for this show, I'd like to emphasize on a topic that is rarely accounted or rarely undertaken. This topic is regarding the past or the golden history of the Shia, the giants of the Shia, those individuals who carried this message, the message of al-Muhammad, the progeny of Muhammad, blessings be upon him and his purified progeny to the nations, where it is as al-Imam 𝗧𝗩𝗦𝗐𝗕𝗦𝗧 states that only 3 remained upon tashayyu' after the killing of Hussein alayhi salam. How did tashayyu' spread? Who were the individuals who carried tashayyu' to us in order for us to be Shia today? Who were the individuals who took it upon themselves to face the agony and troubles of being against the government and working secretly in the service of the true and rightful successors of the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny? I've put forth before you in previous episodes or in previous series, in speeches in the past, I've made the example of Yahya ibn 𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗕𝗦, the brother of Imam Zaynul-Abidin alayhi salam through milk kinship. How he entered the mosque of the Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny, declaring his disassociation from those who curse Imam Ali alayhi salam, stating, "We have disassociated from you and whatever you worship other than Allah. Whoever who curses Ali, then upon him falls the curse of Allah. And I disassociate from you and Alu Marwan and from whatever you worship other than Allah." And this was at the time of al-Hajjaj, the bloodthirsty murderer, tyrannical murderer. Did the Imam stop him? Did the Imam tell him, no, you should not go to the mosque and declare your disassociation? No, you should respect the symbols of the opponent. No. Rather, what we received after the martyrdom, the horrific martyrdom of Yahya ibn 𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗕𝗦 was nothing but praise for him, stating in a narration that a caller shall call out on the day of judgment, "Where are the companions of Ali ibn al-Hussein?" And 3 shining stars shall emerge from amongst the crowd. The first being Yahya ibn 𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗕𝗦. Yahya ibn 𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗕𝗦, Abu Khalid al-Kabuli, and Jubayr ibn Mut'im, or Muhammad ibn Jubayr ibn Mut'im. These were the individuals who carried tashayyu' to us. And I like with Mu'min al-Taq, where I recall that I've presented a research or a lecture about his character and personality. How he used to engage with the opponent. Engaging with the opponent and leaving them rattled. And not engaging with any opponent. No. Rather engaging with the heads of the opponent, such as Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa ibn 𝗦𝗨𝗏𝗕𝗦𝗧 Thabit. One of the Imams of the opponent sect. They call him al-Imam. Mu'min al-Taq, this student of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam and Imam al-Sadiq, left him like a rat hiding his tail. Left him rattled in a series of debates I've mentioned in the series, The Pioneers of Rejection, or The Pioneers of the Rafidah. Search up Mu'min al-Taq and you will see those debates, or at least some of the debates that I've presented. How he left Abu Hanifa rattled, unable to answer. And this is just a student, or one of the students of Imam, of the Imams, blessings be upon him, blessings be upon them. To the extent that they called him Shaytan al-Taq. And he is Mu'min. Mu'min al-Taq we call him. The believer of Taq. However, the opponents, because of how much they hated him, and because how much he left them, he destroyed their concept, destroyed their religion, stating it blatantly. They called him Shaytan al-Taq. They were not able to bear this individual. And when he died, they rejoiced. They rejoiced. The Shaytan of Taq had died. And in this episode or research or show, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present before you an individual by the name of Isa ibn Ja'far. Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim. An unknown individual. And I bet most of the Shias today have probably never heard of his name. Yet he was an individual who sacrificed himself, his life, for the sake of Ahlul Bayt, blessings be upon him and his blessings be upon them and his progeny, and for the sake of revealing to us those whom usurped the right and deviated this ummah from its correct course. I bring to you this narration quoted in Tarikh al-Tabari. And as you know, Tarikh al-Tabari can be found translated online. If one refers to volume 34, page 168, he states the year 241. In this year, Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Muhammad ibn Aasim, the perpetrator of Khan Aasim in Baghdad, was flogged, scourged by al-Mutawakkil with what was said to be 1,000 lashes. This individual, Isa ibn Ja'far, was a caravanserai. He had like an inn on the side of the road for travelers. An inn where travelers used to go and rest in and sit down in from catch a breath, let's say, and they may also sleep there. It's an inn in the middle of the desert, like a stopping point for travelers. They go and eat there, and there are several shops there. He had a shop of perfumes in this inn in Baghdad, or on the way to Baghdad. He states, 𝗦𝗦𝗣𝗣𝗕𝗦𝗧, and the reason for lashing, or the reason for his lashing, was that 17 men testified before al-Hasan, Abu al-Hasan al-Zayyadi, judge of the Sharqiyya, that Isa ibn Ja'far had defamed Abu Bakr, Umar, Aisha and Hafsa. 17 men witnessed this brave individual, this man with great valor, courage, revealing the truth regarding the characters of Abu Bakr and Umar, Aisha and Hafsa, stating that they have killed the messenger, for example. That those individuals, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, or Abu Bakr, Umar, Aisha and Hafsa, were those who conspired against the Prophet, blessings be upon him, and his progeny, and killed him via poison. And as Aisha herself, due to her اضطراب, due to her nervousness, have declared things that one may suspect her a suspect to this crime. Where she states in al-Bukhari, Hadith al-Ladud, where she states, I fed the messenger a substance. And he was saying, do not feed me, do not feed me. But she still fed him this substance. And after it, as the narration states, or as several narrations states, after this, تدهورت حالة النبي صلى الله عليه وآله. The illness or sickness of the Prophet deteriorated. His condition deteriorated after this substance. And if you go to the hadiths of the progeny, blessings be upon them, if we go to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam and ask him regarding this matter, what did he say? He said, Aisha and Hafsa, بأمر من أبويهما إنهما سقياه. They, Aisha and Hafsa, fed him this poison by the orders of their fathers, Abu Bakr and Umar. This man simply stated this. Stated the fact, this is our messenger, O people. Our messenger has died. Our messenger has been poisoned. How can anyone sleep his night whilst knowing that his messenger has been killed, and no one knows yet how did he die? There's ikhtilaf. Some people say he died from the death of from the poison of a Jewish woman 3 years prior to his death, which is absolutely illogical. It is almost impossible to believe. Any rational man, any rational individual would refuse to believe such, especially with the Prophet undertaking his normal daily activities as normal. We did not see, for example, that history did not even record even a weak athar, even a weak trace, that after the Prophet, blessings be upon him, took that meat, although according to us he did not even eat that poisoned meat. You know in hadith, history did not even record a weak trace that his condition or his state began to deteriorate after eating that lamb given by or produced or given by the Jewish woman. We do not have even a weak athar of this. Rather, we have the contrary. That he was continuing, he was fighting, he was battling, he was giving sermons, he was as active, he was in his prime during that time. He was actually in his prime from the conquest of Khaybar till Hunayn. The Prophet was in his prime, one can say. But yet they say that the Prophet died because of this. And some say no, he died just without any type of poison. He died normally, a natural death. However, in Musnad Ahmad, hadith by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud says, لَأَنْ أَحْلِفَ تِسْعًا, if I were to swear by Allah 9 times that the Prophet died via poison, I would have done so, and I would not have sworn once that he died a natural death. What do you do with this? And the hadith is sahih in Musnad Ahmad by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. One may refer to the books and read. He says, I am prepared to swear 9 times by Allah that the Prophet died by poison. He was poisoned, he was killed. 𝗦𝗨𝗥𝗡𝗧, he was killed. And I am not prepared to even swear once that he died a natural death. And this is a Sahabi, and the hadith is sahih. This individual, this brave individual, by the name of Isa ibn Ja'far, remember his name. Carry his name to your generations, inshallah. Teach your children the brave sacrifice of this man, whom because of him and his likes, we are today Shia. He merrily stated that fact, and specifically cursing who? Or insulting who? Or speaking against who? Abu Bakr, Umar, Aisha and Hafsa, the 4 conspirators and the 4 killers of the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny. 17 men testified to the governor that Isa ibn Ja'far had defamed Abu Bakr and Umar and Aisha and Hafsa, stating that he said Aisha killed the Prophet, Aisha came out against Amir al-Mu'mineen, Aisha let men enter upon her house and reveal to them how to do bathing or how to do ritual bathing. She'd done innovations. He said that Abu Bakr, Fatima alayhi salam died angry with Abu Bakr. He usurped the right. He was a hypocrite, stating that Umar, for example, was an evil, malicious individual, a hypocrite who attacked Fatima alayhi salam, who attacked the daughter of the Holy Prophet, threatening to burn her house, killed her and her unborn baby, al-Muhassin, blessings be upon him. He stated that Hafsa used to curse Imam Ali alayhi salam. He stated these facts that can be found in the books of the opponent. He stated these facts. 17 men went to the governor, and probably after unable to face him and unable to deter him from his statements and his position, they resorted to informing the authorities that this individual is a Rafidi and he's cursing Abu Bakr and Umar, Aisha and Hafsa, and something needs to be done about it. So what do? The postmaster of Baghdad, as al-Tabari writes, the postmaster of Baghdad wrote about this to Ubaydullah ibn Yahya al-Khaggan. It's in English. The Arabic is no longer with me, unfortunately, so I'm unable to dictate the exact pronunciation. Ubaydullah ibn Yahya Khaggan, and he transmitted to al-Mutawakkil. Al-Mutawakkil then gave orders to Ubaydullah to write to Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn 𝗙ahir. These individuals, of course, they are people whom are of authority in the Abbasid Caliphate. It's not. We don't need to, or empire. We do not need to, break down who they were, but they were individuals in the government. So al-Mutawakkil, the so-called caliph at the time, gave orders to this individual, Ubaydullah, to write to Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn 𝗙ahir. Yes? What did he order him? He ordering him to scourge Isa. Scourge means flogging, means lashing. To lash Isa. And if he was to die, he is to be tossed into the Tigris River, and that his corpus is not to be handed over to his kingfolk. Look at the animalistic form of punishment. He is to be lashed, and if he was to die, he is to be thrown into a river, tossed, as they say, tossed, and tossing him as if like this, and corpus, they said, jifa. They did not say his body out of respect. They said jifatuhu. His corpus is to be thrown or tossed into the Tigris River, and his body is not to be handed over to his kingfolk. Such animalistic individuals, and of course, from them, ISIS takes their teachings. From them, ISIS takes their teachings. Do we have such things in our school of thought? In our religion? Do we have such thing? Never. We do not have such things. These things are taken from those who refer to themselves as Sunnis, unfortunately. In which we ask the individuals who are listening to me now from the Bakri sect to really reconsider, reevaluate your position. Know that one day we will all face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's no point in undertaking childish arguments. Research your religion and you will find tashayyuh. Anyone who reads al-Bukhari, Muslim, and especially the books of fiqh of the opponent sect, cannot but accept truth, cannot but leave this such horrific religion and come to the light of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Come to the true inheritors of knowledge. Come to the light that's bequeathed, that's emerged from the house or from the Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny. Ubaydullah, the individual in the government, replied to Al-Hasan bin Uthman, replied to his letter concerning Isa ibn Ja'far, after these 17 men came and witnessed against him this crime, which is cursing Abu Bakr and Umar and revealing their crimes, Aisha and Hafsa included. He states, and this is a document, now a document I'm about to read out to you, that's occurred privately between the governors, and in which the punishment of Isa ibn Ja'far, may Allah have mercy upon him, was dictated. This is a private document that I'm going to read to you now. What did he say? Ubaydullah said, "In the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate, may God prolong your life, protect you and extend His beneficence upon you. Your letter concerning the man named Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Muhammad ibn Aasim, the perpetrator of the 𝗙𝗓𝗓𝗓, has been received. We have received your letter regarding this man, Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim, and the witness, testimonies to his defamation to the companions of the Messenger of God, blessings be upon him." They sound more like the Salafis of our time. "And his defamation to the companions of the Messenger of God, cursing them and declaring them infidels, accusing them of grave sins and ascribing hypocrisy to them." This is our religion. Is this not what we claim today? If you were to ask any Shia, you ask him, for example, do you disassociates from Abu Bakr and Umar, Aisha and Hafsa. He will tell you 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗣𝗕𝗦𝗧 and 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗡𝗦 says that this is from the primary and fundamentals of Shia Islam. That's number one. He says, accusing them of grave sins. For example, do you consider Aisha a hypocrite, that she hated Imam Ali alayhi salam, as it is stated in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal, where she states, or when Ibn Abbas states that Aisha hated Imam Ali alayhi salam in a Sahih hadith. And Aisha لا تطيب له نفسا بخير. Aisha does not like to mention Imam Ali in good, to praise Imam Ali. She likes always to, she dislikes him, she hates him. Yes? Aisha, for example, used to very much disturb the messenger and insult him, to the extent that the Prophet ﷺ said to her, "Oh Aisha, do not be obscene," due to her filthy tongue. To the extent that Aisha was punched by the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him, and his progeny, in her chest, according to what she reports. This is all their narrations. And anyone who would like to call, and I'm happy to give them the narrations. لهزني أو لهدني لهزة لهدة أوجعتني. The Prophet pushed me, or like punched me, if it's right to say, that hurt me. And this is after an act that she done. And the Prophet, blessings be upon him, used to never do such things. This is why we say that the Prophet's dealing with her in such way really tells us that he is implementing what the Quran states, where the Quran states, وَجَاهِدِ الْكُفَّارَ وَالْمُنَافِقِينَ وَاغْلُظْ عَلَيْهِمْ. And fight the opposing, the combatant, yes, the combatant disbelievers whom are fighting the Prophet, and the hypocrites, and be harsh with them. Be harsh upon those whom are hypocrites. And we see that the Prophet, blessings be upon him, did not deal with anyone like how he dealt with Aisha. And this is according to a narration of Aisha. As far as I'm concerned, we don't have a narration of such in our books. However, her narrating this, and especially due to it being against her, it is to be looked at and perhaps it may be accepted. Because there is no benefit of her stating such matter. So he says such things. Stating, Isa ibn Ja'far stating the Shia creed that we are all upon today. Each and every Shia individual, if you were to ask him, he would affirm what Isa ibn Ja'far stated. Stating his defamation to the companions of the Messenger of God, cursing them, obviously not all the companions, but this is what they say, cursing them, declaring them infidels, stating that Abu Bakr and Umar are kuffar, as Imamuna, as our fourth Imam, 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗡𝗦, Ali ibn al-Husayn, blessings be upon him, said, Abu Bakr and Umar are kuffar, are disbelievers. They have carried the people upon our necks. Stating this individual stating that they are kuffar. And he says, accusing them of grave sins and ascribing hypocrisy to them. And so on, by which he came out in opposition against God and his messenger. He says that Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim became an enemy of God because of such statements. He continues to say in this document, and the letter mentioned your verification of those, or of the testimonies of those witnesses. Your letter mentioned that you verify the statements of those who witnessed those 17 individuals who came out or went to the authority, the governor, making this case against Isa. You have verified their testimonies. Your validation to their probity, to their trustworthiness, to their honesty, that they are not lying. Your validation to their probity and their testimonies was evident to you, meaning that individual said that these individuals, these 17 individuals, were befitting to take their testimonies to hand and to account their testimonies. They are trustworthy people. And your exposition of this matter was clear in your letter. I presented this to the commander of the faithfuls, i.e. 𝗦𝗣𝗣𝗕𝗦𝗧. May God dignify him, he states. Whereupon he ordered that a letter be sent to Abu al-Abbas, Muhammad ibn Ali ibn 𝗡𝗢𝗧, may God prolong his life, concerning the ideas of the caliphate. What is the ideas of the caliphate, of the caliph, so called? His ideas of how we are going to conduct, what are we going to do with this Isa ibn Ja'far? What are we going to do with him? Yes? How are we going to deal with him? Are we going to kill him? In which way we will kill this individual, Isa ibn Ja'far? Concerning the ideas of the caliph, may God prolong his life to protect the religion of God, reviving its tradition and taking revenge from those who deviate from it. They really sound like the Salafis today. No difference, mashallah. And he ordered, now after all the praise and may Allah prolong his life and the protector of the religion and the revive of the tradition, mashallah, poetry. Then, now we come to the point. What did he say? He says, and al-Mutawakkil, the so-called caliph, and he ordered that man, he did not even mention his name, that man, i.e. Isa ibn Ja'far, is to be publicly scourged as a fixed punishment, had, for defamation, and to be given an additional 500 lashes beyond the fixed punishment for the grave things he audaciously dared to say. Isa ibn Ja'far is to be taken to the square of Baghdad, amongst the people, amongst the crowd, humiliated and scourged, whipped, lashed, 500 lashes beyond the fixed punishment, and an extra 500 beyond the fixed punishment for the grave things that he audaciously dared to say. Simply stating the facts. That we are ready to conduct any dialogue, any debate, speaking of the matter. Any individual who would like to step forward and debate me on these things, these matters that Isa ibn Ja'far mentioned, I am happy to conduct this debate or conduct this discussion and prove to you from your sources that these crimes that Isa ibn Ja'far stated on that square of Baghdad was nothing but a fact that the Quran and the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny, the traditions, the ahadith, the narrations, all affirm these matters or these claims, these facts rather, that Isa ibn Ja'far stated in the square of Baghdad. He continues and he says, and if he were to die, after all the punishments, after 1,000 lashes, according to this narration, and if he was to die, if he were to die, he is to be tossed into the river without a funeral prayer. He is not to be prayed upon. It is the right of each and every Muslim. Each and every Muslim, it is the right for him to be prayed upon. Yet, These individuals were happy to throw him into the river without any form of funeral prayer, declaring that he's a kafir, he's an infidel. As any person who curses Abu Bakr and Umar is a kafir according to them. So that may deter every deviant in religion who abandons the community of the Muslims. He's stating, so I am being, or this very harsh punishment that was dictated, judged towards Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim is for every deviant in religion to be deterred from doing the same. They did not achieve anything. Rather, today we are saying his name, Isa ibn Ja'far, and mentioning him as a mountain of patience and valor, as a mountain who was steadfast upon the right path and upon the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And we will see how the Imam alayhi salam prayed for him, supplicated for him, said, may Allah have mercy upon him. We will see now. What are the individuals who tortured him? We do not even know their names, they are not even mentioned. Where is al-Mutawakkil? Aslan, who from the Muslims valor him? He is nothing but dirt. But Isa ibn Ja'far stays a shining star in the skies of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam for his firm stance and bravery for truth, boldness, ready to face the nations upon the walaya, upon the loyalty to Ahlul Bayt, the progeny of Muhammad, the rightful inheritors and successors of the Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny, and upon the dissociation and dissociation of their enemies. He continues to say, I have informed you of this so that you shall know it. Insha'Allah, God the Exalted willingly, and peace be upon you, and the mercy and the blessings of God. And after this document was received, the brave Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim was taken into the public square of Baghdad in chains. People gathered to witness his death, his execution. He was taken into the square, tied, his hand tied with chains, or his right hand is to be chained with a piece of wood, and his left to be chained with a piece of wood, and the scourger, the one who implements flogging, picked up his whip and began to lash him viciously. In which, did he return? Did he deter? Did he say, no, that's it, I repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from cursing Abu Bakr and Umar? No, they are righteous individuals. Did he say this? No, he did not. He remained each and every breath upon his firm iman, that this is the right of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Those individuals, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Aisha, Hafsa, are the enemies of Allah, and in which Islam has nothing got to do with them. Islam is free from them. These criminals, Islam is free from them and their actions. Burning alive, killing, executions, oppressiveness, tyranny. Islam is free from this. Islam is free from this. I done this so that the generations to come know of the sacrifice that the early Shias done, the early Shias made. And he was taken into the square of Baghdad and was flogged viciously for his declaration of truth, declaration of cursing Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, Aisha, Hafsa, his declaration of truth. And he was left in the sun until he died and was thrown into the Tigris River. This individual, he actually bared all of these lashes. He actually bared 1,000 lashes according to this narration. And he remained alive. That really tells us how strong that man was. What kind of will he had in his heart. And if we recall that the governor stated that if he were to live after it, if he were to die, then he would be thrown into the Tigris River. Meaning there was a possibility for him to live. But they left him out in the sun. They wanted to kill this individual, although perhaps he would have, became better. And the punishment was undertook. He perhaps could have lived after that. But they purposefully left him out in the sun, and probably obstructed the companions of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam from rescuing him or taking him, giving him water, trying to help him. Obstructed his family from intervening and taking him. No, they rather left him in the sun purposefully until he died. And after Allahu Alam, how long? How long did it take him to die? Days, weeks, or perhaps hours. But they purposefully left him out in the sun in order for him to die, and in order for him to be thrown or tossed, as they said. Tossed like this, like as if he is not a human being, aslan. To be tossed into the Tigris River without funeral prayer, without wash. Although he's a shaheed, he does not need to be washed. Now the question remains, dear brothers and sisters. And inshallah soon I will be taking your calls and taking your questions from the YouTube chats. I am following the YouTube chats, rest assured. And inshallah I'll be happy to take your questions and interact with you. But here this is an important matter. What is the position of the Imams alayhimus salam from İsa ibn Ja'far? Did they say that he done something that is against our principles, against our teachings? Did this individual İsa ibn Ja'far go against our teachings? Listen to what the Imam alayhi salam said. Refer back to 𝗧𝗦𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗧, volume 2, page 863. From Muhammad ibn al-Faraj, who said, I wrote to Abu al-Hasan. Who is Abu al-Hasan here? He is Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam. Imam Musa ibn Ja'far al-Kadhim, the 7th Imam of the Shia. I wrote to Abu al-Hasan, peace be upon him, asking him about Abi Ali, son of Rashid, İsa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim, our man, and the son of Bend and Ibn Bend. He wrote back to me saying, this individual, Muhammad ibn al-Faraj, wrote a letter to Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam. Probably after these 3 individuals died. And perhaps the death of İsa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim really shook individuals. And really was the talk, as they say, the talk of the time. So he had to write to the Imam alayhi salam to be sure. Perhaps there was a conflict between the companions of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, Ali ibn Muhammad. Perhaps there was a conflict. Some companions said he should have not have done so, and some companions said he should have done so. And there was a conflict, perhaps. There was a disagreement, a disputation regarding this individual, İsa ibn Ja'far, this brave individual. So Muhammad ibn al-Faraj had to ask the Imam alayhi salam about these 3 individuals. Abi Ali, son of Rashid, Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim, our man, and Ibn Band, the son of Band. And probably these two individuals, Ibn Band and Abi Ali, son of Rashid, probably had similar stances as to Isa ibn Ja'far. Also declaration of truth, unveiling or debating with the so-called Sunni sect, and ended up dying or executed. However, sadly, according to my humble research, I did not find the individual, the two individuals. I did not find their history. Did not find their stance. History did not record, as far as I've looked, the stances of these two individuals, Abi Ali, son of Rashid, nor Ibn Band. I did not see. Perhaps individuals will take upon themselves, inshallah, to research and find exactly what happened. I'll be very intrigued to learn of their actions or of their mawqif to which led them to be executed. So he wrote back to me saying, after the letter of Muhammad ibn al-Faraj, the Imam responded. What did he say? He said, you mentioned the son of Rashid. May Allah have mercy upon him. Imam says, may Allah have mercy upon him. He lived excellently. He lived happily. Excellently. And died a martyr. عاش سعيدا ومات شهيدا. He died, he lived excellently and died a martyr. And then Muhammad ibn al-Faraj states, and he supplicated, the Imam alayhi salam, and he supplicated for the son of Band and al-Asimi, Ja'far, Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim. Ibn Band was killed via continuous strikes with a bulgin, this metal stick that the police officers carry often. A metal stick, a metal bar, to hit protesters, to push back individuals, for example. This individual, Ibn Band, was killed via continuous strikes with a bulgin, and Isa ibn Ja'far, our man, was scourged with 300 lashes, then thrown into the Tigris River. And that is the story of Isa ibn Ja'far ibn Aasim, the man who carried tashayyu', the man who remained firm, the man who sought to carry the message and the light of Muhammad and his purified progeny, blessings be upon him and his progeny, to the nations by this brave, bold, courageous stand. Let us all, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm here speaking to the Rafida first, let us really feel this message. Let us carry this message. And inshallah, rest assured, the next years are for the Rafida. The next years, the Rafida shall be prosperous, especially with the film coming, The Lady of Heaven. Indeed, insha'Allah, the world shall know, and the world shall be aware that there are two forms of Islam. There is Shia Islam under the guidance of the Prophet and his purified progeny, and there is what is known as Sunni Islam, so-called Sunni Islam, under the guidance of Abu Bakr and Umar, Aisha and Hafsa. A terroristic religion which has caused much deviation and much bloodshed and much instability throughout the nations and throughout the generations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now happy, inshaAllah, to swiftly take your calls. The number can be displayed on the screen, and I am happy to, inshaAllah, take your calls and read out your questions. I am now looking at the YouTube chat, and I see multiple brothers and sisters tuning in. I see a question from brother Nihad. What is your opinion on 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗑𝗦𝗧? 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗑𝗦𝗧, dear brother, firstly, my opinion does not matter. What is more of weight is the statements of the infallibles, ﷺ. I am but a relayer, I am but a conveyor of what is in the books. Al-Mukhtar-al-Thaqafi, dear brother, is dispraised. And I myself looked a lot into the history of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Very, very much. And I've read multiple works and multiple sources, and I've returned to the books and read that period of history. Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, dear brother, was a politician. Firstly, if we were to read the history of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, we would glimpse and notice that he always has or had love for ruling, for authority. He wanted to be the governor or the ruler of Iraq, al-Iraqain, Kufa and Basra, and he wanted to expand. And he was prepared to submit to Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan in the time of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, and deliver Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam to Muawiyah. Individuals who have read that portion of history know. Firstly, let's go back to the start. Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, his father is Abu Ubaidah, or Al-Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaidah al-Thaqafi. Abu Ubaidah, this individual, was the leader of the army of Umar ibn al-Khattab. He was the leader of the army of Umar ibn al-Khattab in the battle of Qadisiyah against the Sassanids, Persia, at the time. And he died in that battle, whilst Mukhtar was 13 years old or something along the lines. So naturally, Umar ibn al-Khattab gave his family, Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, a salary to which they live by. Meaning this haram, this salary that is taken, which is not his rights, which is not the rights of Umar ibn al-Khattab, it is the rights of Imam Ali alayhi salam, because he is the rightful character, he is the rightful inheritor and successor of the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny. So this tahakkum, this rule of Umar ibn al-Khattab giving al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi a certain salary, a certain amount, was haram, was suht. It is not in the control of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Meaning, any individual who sustains himself with haram, this haram will play an effect on him. This haram will play an effect on him, which would lead him to do horrific actions. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam states in the 10th of Muharram, speaking to those who will kill him, stating that you are going to kill me because of the haram that has entered your stomachs. The haram that you have sustained yourself with. Inshallah. Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi's teenagehood teenage life was sustained through the salary of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, Uthman ibn Affan goes. Comes the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and that passes. Comes the time of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam is now the rightful successor of the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny. And he is to fight Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. His own army, the army of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Many ask, why did Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam make a truce with Muawiyah? Why did he stop battle? It is because his own army, attempted to kill him. The individual by the name of Jarrah ibn Sinan, a Kharijite, went to the Imam alayhi salam whilst he was riding his horse and stabbed him in his thigh, in which the blade reached the bone of the Imam alayhi salam. And the Imam alayhi salam was taken to al-Madain. Al-Imam alayhi salam chose to go into the Madain, which was ruled or governed by Sa'id ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi, the uncle of Mukhtar. Imam spends his days there, getting seen by a doctor and getting, inshallah, getting seen by a doctor and trying to heal his wound on his thigh. During this time, al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi tried to pressure his uncle Sa'id ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi to deliver Imam al-Hasan to Muawiyah, because Imam Muawiyah had said that whoever who brings to me al-Hasan will receive a very generous price. And at the time, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam had not made a truce. He tried to pressure his uncle to deliver Imam al-Hasan to Muawiyah, and his uncle kicked him out. He said, leave, you're not going to be with me. In a moment, inshallah. Time goes by. Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam revolts. Can I just finish these statements? I'm almost finished, inshallah. Yeah, inshallah. Just give me 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, inshallah. We have a call on the line. We'll take it in a moment. Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam revolts. Times go by. I'm quite short on time. Forgive me, dear brothers. And Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam is killed. Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi goes to pay allegiance to Ibn Zubayr, ironically, and becomes the governor of Ibn Zubayr for some time on Kufa. And we find that al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi did not, in the beginning, kill the killers of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, but only until they rised against him. In the day of Siba', or something along the lines. It's mentioned in the books of history. And then he killed the killers of Hussein. That was only because they rise against him. Rather, amongst his ranks, amongst his officers, amongst his soldiers was killers of Hussein, such as 𝗬𝗏 ibn 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏. 𝗬𝗏 ibn 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 actually paid allegiance to Mukhtar and was with him. And if we were to go to the narrations of the infallibles alayhimus salam, especially Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam, he states that al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi is now in hell, and that on the day of judgment the messenger will go by and al-Mukhtar will scream, stating, "O messenger, intervene for me, take me out," and the messenger would not look at him. Imam Ali would come and he would scream, "O Ali, help me, take me out of fire." And Imam Ali alayhi salam would not look at him. Alike Fatima alayhi salam, alike al-Hasan, whom he betrayed. And then when al-Husayn alayhi salam comes and he walks, he screams, "O Husayn, I have killed your killers. Intervene for me, take me out of hell. Intercede for me." Imam alayhi salam says, according to the narration, that Imam al-Husayn looks at the messenger and the messenger nods, gives him permission. So he is taken like a coal. His body becomes is like a coal, so black, 𝗙𝗢𝗦𝗡𝗦, like a coal, and he's taken out of hell. And why is this? He is asked, the Imam al-Kadhim is asked, why is this? He says it is because he had love for Abu Bakr and Umar in his heart. So, in a nutshell, dear brother, al-Mukhtar-al-Thaqafi is dispraised. However, we are not aware of what happens later. As of now, he is dispraised. Is he going to be taken to heaven after that? That we don't know. In that we are mutawaqqifun. We stop, we pause, and we wait. However, right now, in our position of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi is that he is dispraised. We have a caller. Let's take him, inshallah. Who is with us? Samir from Sweden. Assalamu alaikum.
My name is Samir. I'm from Sweden, and I have a question for you.
Welcome, dear brother.
I want to ask about the surah in the Quran, Surah 33, verse 33.
Ahsantum.
It says something about purifying the Ahlul Bayt from their sins.
Yes.
And I want to ask if this also includes Aisha, la'anaha Allah.
This is your question?
Yes.
No, dear brother. It does not include Aisha.
Because some Bakris, they say that Aisha is a part of the Ahlul Bayt.
No, Aisha is not part of Ahlul Bayt. As a matter of fact, what you can do is open Sahih Muslim, and there's a narration where right now I've forgotten his name. However, he's a very known narrator. He is asked, is Aisha from Ahlul Bayt or are the wives from Ahlul Bayt? He says no, they are not from Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt are those who sadaqah is haram for them, or sadaqah, they are not to take sadaqah. Those are Ahlul Bayt. And if we were to debate anyone, and I'm very happy to undertake any discussion on this matter, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam are those whom the Prophet declared to be Ahlul Bayt. Whom the Prophet declared to be Ahlul Bayt. إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ أَهْلُ بَيْتِي وَخَاصَّتِي وَحَامَّتِي. Where he states in the hadith of the cloak, Hadith al-Kisa, the known Hadith al-Kisa, yes. He says, yes, that's those are Ahlul Bayt, those whom are under this Kisa, under this, let's say cover, under this cover. Those are Ahlul Bayt. Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein, and the progeny of Hussein alayhi salam, from the infallibles and the successors of the Holy Prophet, blessings be upon him and his progeny. Those are Ahlul Bayt. These are the Khassa. Ahlul Bayt is different than Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt is a bit am, it's general. But Ahlul Bayt, those whom are al-ma'niyun bihim, or those whom are mentioned in the verse 33, Ayat al-Tathir, is those Ahlul Bayt, the specific Ahlul Bayt. Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein, and the progeny of Hussein, the 9 infallibles, the 9 Imams, the 9 authorities, guides from the progeny of Hussein alayhi salam. They are the Ahlul Bayt. Khassa.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I have another question, if it's okay.
Go ahead, inshallah.
Ismailis, are they classified to be a part of Shia?
Ismailis?
Yes.
Ismailis are classified or categorized in the books of firaq, in the books of sects, as a sect from the Shia. However, they are deviants. They are deviants, and they are not Shia in the actual sense. In the actual sense, they are not Shia. No. However, they are categorized as Shia in the books of sects, in the books of Islamic sects.
Okay. And I have one more question. If it's okay.
Go ahead, inshallah.
The movie, when will the movie be released?
Inshallah, very soon, inshallah. Obviously, right now, due to the COVID pandemic, cinemas worldwide are shut. Some are open here and there, I am aware. However, the restrictions are on the cinemas, given by or stipulated by countries, are still there, and our film is in the list, is in a waiting list, basically. Let's say, as soon as cinemas open and things get back to normal and restrictions ease, inshallah, you will see the film first thing in the cinemas, inshallah. Toronto, Australia, UK, Sweden, inshallah, worldwide, inshallah, you will see the film.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair, brother.
Barakallahu feekum. May Allah accept from us and you. Inshallah. Dear brothers, I am forced to conclude this show, inshallah. I noticed that we have many other questions that perhaps I am unable to take due to shortage of time. Inshallah, perhaps if you were to come to us in the next episode, inshallah, in the next show, I'll be happy to take your questions. So I can see some very nice questions actually. Do we have some time, Hisham? Okay. So unfortunately, we have to conclude this show. We will, inshallah, undertake another episode, inshallah, or another show in the following week if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us life and tawfiq. Until then, هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على قتلتهم وأعدائهم أجمعين.